Congo International. Donald Trump vs. South Africa. After his war with Mexican and Kim Jong-un, Trump has opened the war against South Africa. He has made a speech and the decision was taken about the border war between America and Mexico. Trump's mouth speaks even when he's sleeping. Among all the social networks, Twitter has made itself politically famous, and most of politicians are using Twitter so that they can post or publish anything they think about. On his Twitter, Sean King has said the following. At his core, in his soul, Donald Trump is a white supremacist. His cooperating philosophy is white supremacy. He occasionally works to disguise it, but whenever his back is against the wall, it always comes out for the whole world to see. And his core supporters love it. Daniel Waters said the following on his Twitter. This is an alt-right talking point. And Donald J. Trump has replied, I have asked Secretary of State C. Pompeo to closely study the South African land and farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killing of farmers. Dean Obeidallah, replying to Donald Trump, has said the following. Trump continually repeats white supremacist talking points. He uses these terms like chain migration and calling black people low IQ. And now he's copying European white supremacists who have raised issue about white farmers in Africa. Trump is a white supremacist. South Africa's white farm grab. ANC leader reveals how expropriation will happen. A top South African politician has revealed how the country's government plans to seize land from white farmers without compensation. Donald Trump has said, I have asked Secretary of State C. Pompeo to closely study the South African land and farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killing of farmers. South African government is now seizing land from white farmers. Nadine Baba has published on news, South Africa moving to expropriate white farmers' land. Country's president says ruling party to push ahead with plans to redistribute land without compensation for white farmers, widening concerns. Kwere Mantanchi, chairman of the ruling African National Congress, backed the party's controversial proposal for land expropriation. He said, white farmers who own more than 12,000 hectares of land should be forced to hand over their share to the government. Under the ANC radical plans, this land will then be redistributed with priority given to black farmers. Mr. Mantashi said, you shouldn't own more than 12,000 hectares of land. Therefore, if you own more, it should be taken without compensation. Mantashi, speaking to South Africa's News 24 website, he said, white farmers will not allow the states to take their land. As a result, he said, the country's constitution should be amended to push through the policy. He said again, they will not allow you. People who are privileged never give away privilege as matter of a gift. And that is why we say, to give you the tools, revisit the Constitution so that you have a legal tool to do it. White farmers have blasted the government's decision to endorse constitutional changes in order to speed up the redistribution of white-owned land to the country's poor black majority as catastrophic. On Tuesday night, President C.Ramaphosa said his ruling African National Congress Party will push ahead with the amendments to allow for the expropriation of land without compensation. More than 2 decades after the end of apartheid, whites still own most of South Africa's land, and ownership remains a highly emotive subject. It has become patently clear that our people want the Constitution to be more explicit about expropriation of land without compensation, Ramaphosa said in a televised address. The ANC will, through the parliamentary process, finalize a proposed amendment to the Constitution that outlines more clearly the condition under which the expropriation of land without compensation can be effected, he added. They call him Juju, the president of economic freedom fighters, and this never step back. You have to follow this.
So why are you shocked? I see leaders of the EFF and everybody responding to Donald Trump. I don't have time for nonsense. I expected this. And more backlash is going to come. If South Africans are not ready to expropriate the land because they are scared of sanctions, they are scared of backlash, then don't vote for the EFF. Because you vote for us, we are going to expropriate land. And Donald Trump will come for us. And Britain will come for us. And EU will come for us. I said this throughout my life in the movement, that for everything good comes the pain before. If you're not prepared, South Africa, to take the pain, then forget about the land. Donald Trump has not said anything extreme. Things are still going to come. I hope the Zuma group in the ANC, which is supporting this thing, they know the consequences. We know the consequences. We know that the first response will be killing. They will kill us for that. There's a group of white right-wingers who are being trained by Jews in Pretoria to be snipers. Snipers. They are not training guns. In the EFF, we are training toy guns. They're dealing with real stuff. They are training in a farm in Pretoria. We know it. To be snipers. So we know that death is the first price we are prepared to pay. The second price we are prepared to pay for this land is poverty. They will close taps. But if there is a conviction, and not sloganeering and public opinions, then we must be prepared for everything. It's a war. We must be prepared for conversation. So why are you shocked? I see leaders of the EFF and everybody responding to Donald Trump. I don't have time for nonsense. I expected this. And more backlash is going to come. If South Africans are not ready to expropriate the land because they are scared of sanctions, they are scared of backlash, then don't vote for the EFF. Because you vote for us, we are going to expropriate land. And Donald Trump will come for us. And Britain will come for us. And EU will come for us. I said this throughout my life in the movement, that for everything good comes the pain before. If you're not prepared, South Africa, to take the pain, then forget about the land. Donald Trump has not said anything extreme. Things are still going to come. I hope the Zuma group in the ANC, which is supporting this thing, they know the consequences. We know the consequences. We know that the first response will be killing. They will kill us for that. There's a group of white right-wingers who are being trained by Jews in Pretoria to be snipers. Snipers. They are not training guns. In the EFF, we are training toy guns. They're dealing with real stuff. They are training in a farm in Pretoria. We know it. To be snipers. So we know that death is the first price we are prepared to pay. The second price we are prepared to pay for this land is poverty. They will close taps. But if there is a conviction, and not sloganeering and public opinions, then we must be prepared for everything. It's a war. It's a war. It's a war. We must be prepared for.
The nature is returning back to white farmers what they did to blacks on apartheid time. The cry has changed the camp. Johan doesn't believe the mother of his parents or of the 20 or 30 of his neighbors killed in the past decade or so can be written off as mere robberies. Not only do they kill, but the way they kill, they torture you, he says. This is hate. This is political hate, he quotes. There are many secrets beyond the confiscated lands from black South Africans. Those lands are cemetery, graveyards, and bones are now calling for revenge. A small young boy has asked when Malema, the president of the Economic Freedom Fighter, was claiming for the lands. This is a black country. How come white people can own most of the lands? How did it happen? Replying to Trump's tweets about South Africa and South Africans, C.Ramaphosa never stepped back, and you have to follow his speech. Keep watching.
For this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America, we will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And Ene is even worse. He is even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I will say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Bauri. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America. You have your own problems. Leave us alone.
Not only politicians, but even the citizens of the countries have reacted to this. Shanshan Nene has said this on her Twitter. It's saddening when the leadership make uninformed statements such as this one. I'm pretty sure the US has its own issues that needs to be dealt with and researched by, saying Pompeo. And some white people also have seen it straight. Gaston Slailati has said the following on his Twitter. White people until Mandela was released were treating blacks like slaves in their own country. White people until Mandela was released were treating blacks like slaves in their own country. It's payback time, buddy. Don't even venture there. Stay out of it. It's black land. They are free to cultivate it the way they wish. This is not occupied Palestine. He quotes. Madeleine has said this on her Twitter, replying to Donald Trump and Sec Pompeo and to others. Please come to South Africa and see for yourself what is going on and show Julius Malema what you are made of, and please come and show President C.Ramaphosa how a real leader looks like. Some people around the globe still believe that black South Africans are right to claim what they are claiming. Youssef Munayer has said this on his Twitter. You know who believe the nonsense about a white genocide in South Africa? Anders Breivik, the lunatic white supremacist terrorist that killed 77 people in Norway in 2011. Trump furthered this conspirational nonsense to millions of people. In a Washington Post, Trump's backing of a white nationalist conspiracy theory in South Africa prompts fierce backlash there and fresh criticism in the US. It has come patently clear that our people want the Constitution to be more explicit about expropriation of land without compensation, Ramaphosa said in a televised address. The ANC will, through the parliamentary process, finalize a proposed amendment to the Constitution that outlines more clearly the conditions under which expropriation of land without compensation can be effected, he added. Charles Johnson said, "Wow, just wow. Here we see the President of the US openly endorsing the white genocide propaganda of the South African white supremacist movements." Some white people didn't wait until it's late. They ran away, but still wish to come back in South Africa. They're just waiting for the right time. When is that? We don't know. But they still wish to come back to South Africa.